They say there's no such thing as a free lunch. Someone always has to pay the bill. Days after the promise of free electricity in Karnataka for up to 200 units of use, the bill seems to have arrived. The latest electricity bills received in Bengaluru were a shocker for many, with fixed costs increased and the overall number jumping up. It now appears that power tariffs for BESCOM users, that is in Bengaluru, are set to go up by ₹2.89 per unit from the month of June. This gets implemented for all of those who end up using more than 200 units of electricity and will take the basic tariff from about ₹9 per unit to around ₹12 per unit. The BJP has been quick to attack the new Congress government in Karnataka under Siddaramaiah for the jump in power bills, saying it proves that the lure of free power was a lie. The Congress has hit back, saying the decision to increase power tariffs was made in May when the BJP was still in power and is only being implemented now. The BJP has refuted this charge.
Wants to really help the people whom they have guaranteed free power, they should come and pay the losses. They don't want to do that. They just want to blame the previous government. If I was there in their place, I would have said that government will pay for the losses, will not pass on to the consumer. Why can't they do that?
But what moral right they have? ಹೇಳಪ್ಪ ನೀವೇ ಹೇಳಿ. ಅವರು ಹೇಳೋದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೂ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊಸರಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲ್ಲು ಹುಡುಕಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ದೀಸ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಇದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಇವರು ಜನವಿರೋಧಿ ಪಕ್ಷ ಇದು. ಅವರು ಅಧಿಕಾರದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾಗ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಹೊಡೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಲಂಚ ಹೊಡೆದು ರಾಜ್ಯನ ಕೆಟ್ಟ ಹೆಸರು ತಗೊಬಂದು ಹೋದರು. ಈಗ ಅವ್ರು ನಮಗೆ ಪಾಠ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಏನು ಹೇಳೋದು?
While the politics over power peaks, it's important to look at the details of the hike. The ₹2.89 per unit hike comprises of two parts. ₹1.49 is being hiked because of something called Fuel and Power Purchase Costs Adjustment, or FPPCA. This is essentially the cost of changing fuel prices and the impact it has on electricity bills. The second part of ₹1.4 per unit is for arrears. This is because the price hike of 70 paise per unit was first announced in May to be implemented from April 1st. All of that delayed price hike from 1st April onwards is being collected now. Clearly, those who have to pay these additional prices are not happy.
Sir, I would like to ask you, we are seeing today politics has broken out over this entire issue. While free electricity to 200 units June is being given on one side, on the other side you have BJP which is saying that the Congress has hiked the tariff. Congress has now hit back and they have said that this was done during the BJP's time. We have only implemented it. As a consumer today, as someone who's entitled to the 200 free units of electricity, what is your say on this entire issue, sir?
See, this is just a political drama. Each of Congress and BJP are playing. End of the day, the consumer are the affected parties, because we have seen these games from so many years. Neither the Congress nor the BJP are sane. Okay, they are just actually playing with the public. And now they are saying that, okay, you have to avail. There are certain conditions which he has not disclosed, or there was no conditions at all when the promises are made. So this is obvious, because they wanted to milk the public and get into the power and later say that okay, these are the conditions.
See, सब कुछ ही पॉलिटिकल स्टंट है. आज एक बिल पास होता है, वो इम्प्लीमेंट होता है दूसरे गवर्नमेंट के टाइम पे. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि वो पहले गवर्नमेंट को पता नहीं था कि वो बिल पास होके रखा था, वो बैठे थे उस पे. सो कोई बात ही नहीं कर रहा है. और जहाँ तक कि इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल का हाइक है, 200 यूनिट्स फॉर दी SEC C+ or maybe D+, the lower strata of society might get a little help with that. But if you see the urban citizen of the city, उनके लिए तो ये बहुत वो शर्तें लागू वाली बात हो गई ना. रिटेल में होता है शर्तें लागू, तो 30 यूनिट का कैसे आप वो मुआवजा कैसे करोगे, मतलब उसका कैसे आप मेजर करोगे? तो अभी दो पार्टीज के बीच में एक मुद्दा उठा है, तो उस मुद्दे पे दोनों उछल रहे, कूद रहे, और हम पब्लिक इस पे सफरर हो रहा है. दैट्स ऑल. आई थिंक दिस इज हाउ इट इज.
So free power comes at a cost. This is something state governments understand very well, yet it continues to be a favorite promise for political parties across the board. Right now, the states of Karnataka, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, West Bengal and Tamil Nadu give free power in some form or shape to households. If I include free power for the agricultural sector, there's a whole additional list which gets added as well. Of course, this comes at a cost. Just a few examples. In Andhra Pradesh, the cost of free power supply in 2023-24 is budgeted at 10,135 crore rupees. In Delhi, the subsidy has been accounted for at 3,250 crore rupees. The cost of power subsidies in 2022-23 in Punjab was 20,000 plus crore rupees, and in Tamil Nadu, over 5,000 crore rupees has been earmarked for power subsidies to farmers. Now, is this a fair and necessary cost? After all, subsidies are targeted expenses for those who need them. Or is this an unfair and unpleasant surprise for the citizens of Bengaluru? To speak on this, I'm joined now by Harry Dole. He's DG of the Independent Power Producers Association of India. Madhavan Narayanan, senior journalist, is with me on the show. And I'm also speaking with Dhruv Jatti, spokesperson of the Congress. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for speaking with us today on the show. Let me begin with you, Dhruv, since right now the allegation is against your new government in Karnataka, saying that you promised us free power, but have handed us heftier bills. What's going on?
So firstly, we were very clear that the Gruha Jyotis start from July 1st, which is what you had mentioned earlier to the build-up to the entire show. So just to clear a couple of facts which a lot of people have been misled on is that A, the rise in power tariffs happened on May 12th. That's when the regulatory board took note of it. And the bills that people are seeing today are that of April, which means that you pay your bills, today's bills of last month's. And last month's bills are that which happened during the Bharatiya Janata Party's tenure. Elections took place on May 13th, and post that this tariff had come into place in April. What the Congress party has done is promised the Gruha Jyoti scheme in full-fledged manner as to where 200 units and even up to 10% is going to be taken into consideration for families, and this, I tell you, is going to benefit
some clarity.
a large
I want
number of
one minute.
families.
Dhruv, before you continue, I want some clarity on this May 12th, May 13th situation, because we've been hearing this, that the decision was made on May 12th. Election results were on 13th May. So who has made this decision on May 12th? And how has it been implemented? I'm not quite understanding how this is the BJP government's fault if this decision was made on 12th of May or 13th of May.
No, exactly. So see, the KERC, which is a board, is one of the boards that come under the energy sector, which by far has been a very challenging sort of ministry for irrespective of which government it is. And that's simply because government institutions have defaulted to pay that board for years put together. And now coming back to the date, May 12th, yes, but which government was in power and which government had what I would say the leverage to sort of understand and sort this issue out at that point of time? It was the Bharatiya Janata Party, not the Congress Party.
No, that seems... Dhruv Jatti, you're saying that Mr. Bommai, on the eve of election results, sat and cleared this. Is they saying we didn't clear it? KERC gives recommendations, it's up to the state government to agree. The story is faltering a little over there, Dhruv.
Tamanna, there's no faltering in this. It's very clear. The Bharatiya Janata Party was in power on May 12th, and we formed our cabinet, and it's been about 15 days. That's about it. So there is no Congress party in the picture anywhere, even until, let's say, May 20th or May 25th, because our cabinet was formed just a couple of days ago. So if you see, it happened under the reins of the Bharatiya Janata Party. That's a clear picture that we have to draw. That's a clear line that is put out together. And the Bharatiya Janata Party, which seems to very easily snap into this issue of blaming the Congress party, I feel this is more or less of a boomeranging sort of a show, because every person in Karnataka knows that the current electricity bill that they're paying today is of last month, and that last month's bill took place under the Bharatiya Janata Party's regime. This is the easiest I can explain it into a layman's term.
Okay, so the Bharatiya Janata Party is denying. Madhu and Rao from the Karnataka BJP is with me on the show, and they're just flat out denying. They're saying that KERC may have made this proposal. We never accepted it. It's now become a whodunit. Who has gone and signed on that proposal?
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
I thought for a moment Siddaramaiah was the Chief Minister of Karnataka. I don't know when KERC took over Siddaramaiah or DK Shivkumar.
But he wasn't the chief minister on 12th May. Even he had to wait for a long time.
Fair enough. Assuming for a moment, not conceding, assuming for a moment, okay, we have done. Take it back. Why are you not able to take it back? Who increased it to 2.89 per unit, Mr. Dhruv? Can I say that? 2/6/2023 KARC Regulatory Commission. Who was there? Therefore, I'll tell you something. This is the Jumla by the Congress party. I'll tell you why. Just give me a minute. The same Congress party, Mr. Amrinder Singh Raja Waring in Punjab, who's the Punjab chief, Congress chief, he asked questions to the AAP government. You know what he asked? Quote, I will just tell you. He told many households won't be eligible for the units of electricity, free electricity. This is not what you have promised. It is blatantly cheating.
No, but why are you talking about Arvind Kejriwal? One minute, Madhu, why are you talking about Arvind Kejriwal? You speak about Siddaramaiah.
Peter to pay Paul. I mean, the Congress party is asking questions to our government in Punjab, and we should not ask the questions in Karnataka. Did we put a benchmark of 24 hours? They were the very same persons told within 24 hours we'll give you free electricity, 200 units. And now they are bringing algebraic and mathematical equations of 10% excess, 10% no. I mean, Congress party has to really answer for this.
Okay, Dhruv, please answer.
Please
answer. Are you robbing Peter to pay Paul?
That's what they told.
Okay, one minute. That's the charge. Are you robbing Peter to pay Paul?
Not at all, Tamanna. I think whatever allegations he put, he should go back and ask his CM Bommai, because this happened under that point of time.
And let me remind you that 4 times. Forget us.
Are you saying one minute? Madhu, 1 minute, one by one, please. Let him finish his point. I'm just saying once again, are you saying on the eve of the election, Mr. Bommai, I'm sure, was a very nervous man, like anyone who had high stakes in this election, and he was sitting and signing this? Does that mean that he knew the Congress was going to come? He was like, let me sign this in, let them deal with it.
Tamanna, it's not the first time that they've hiked the tariffs. They've done it 4 times in total during their tenure. And that, I tell you, is a sign that Mr. Bommai could have highly, signed that. And also, let me remind you that this 4-time hike is the reason as to why they've gotten only 66 seats in Karnataka. And Mr. Madhu should actually ponder upon why that this happened during the Bharatiya Janata Party tenure, and why.
Let him speak. One by one, Madhu, no interruption. Well, let him speak, then you come in. Yeah.
He should answer as to how the KERC during their tenure went on to pass this entire thing, and how that it hiked up to the amount that it's coming up to. And now he spoke about the Congress party and, giving it within 24 hours. We've made it very clear that from July 1st, the Gruha Jyoti is going to be implemented. The Bharatiya Janata Party hasn't even formed their own opposition leader, and they speak about the Congress party's guarantees. Sir, more than anything, you must go back to your party office and figure out as to why the people of Karnataka blessed you with only 66 seats. Because with the amount of confidence that you speak as to where, the people were so happy with your schemes,
they are in opposition today. They are in opposition today. It's their job to ask questions, and they're even lifting lines. The BJP spokesperson is speaking about Jumla. So Jumla has now become a universal attack for the opposition. Yes, Madhu.
Well,
yes.
Let me tell you something. It was the very same Siddaramaiah and Mr. DK Shivkumar who signed nothing less than a guarantee card and told the people, I will give you 200 units.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
let us agree for a fact.
That's coming from 1st July. What's the point? That's coming from 1st July.
Fair enough. The point is only so much. The chief minister says something, the other minister says something. Let there be some clarity first of all. These people do not have any clarity. I think first time I'm seeing an elected government with 136 seats being confused and rattled for so many reasons. I mean, you are answerable to people of Karnataka. What did you tell the people of Karnataka? I will give you 200 units of power. I mean, why are you trying to bring in mathematical equations, algebraic equations? I'll explain to you 10%. That is all not required. You told 200 units, simply 200 units you have to bring. And of all, what did you do? You increased 2.89 paise per unit.
Yeah, but 1 minute, Madhu Rao. 1 minute, Madhu. Isn't the increase if you use more than 200 units in every state? If you see the formula, you get a limited amount of free power, if
That
you're
means
using
you're-
more than that, if your
That
power
means you're-
consumption is
that means
higher,
you're-
it proves
that
you
means
don't
you-
need the free power, then you pay more.
That means what Congress told our government, you are robbing Peter to pay Paul is correct even in Karnataka.
Okay, I want to come on this. I want to come on this. Harry Doll is with us. Madhavan is with us. I want to illustrate how, in the case of every subsidy in every state, if you're saying you have to rob Peter to pay Paul, there's always a Peter sitting with their pockets emptied. It is the Indian taxpayer, the great Indian taxpayer. Someone has to pay. Is this free power coming from thin air? No. It is coming from the exchequer. The government has to pay the distribution company which is giving that free power. They don't pay it for years together. Dhruv Jatti is very right when he says this. And that's responsible for the abysmal state of the entire sector. I'm coming to Harry first. I know this is a pet peeve of yours. Are we going to see a redux of that? And don't you think, logically, no matter who signed and who agreed, it does make sense to charge more once a consumer has crossed that threshold of 200 units. That means if you're using more than 200 units, you can afford to pay more.
But you'll have to give me a minute or two to explain the position. The first thing I want to say is that neither the BJP nor the Congress is responsible. This order was passed by the Honorable Karnataka Energy Regulatory Commission based on the submissions made by the distribution companies of Karnataka during the year 2022. As you know, the procedure in the regulatory commissions is they hear these matters at great length before they pass an order. However, I do agree with the trend that it was not appropriate for the commission to announce this tariff increase when the state was going through elections. That I concede was perhaps an oversight on the part of the regulatory commission. Now let's look at the breakup of ₹2.89. 1 rupee 48 is fuel cost adjustment and power purchase adjustment. Ladies and gentlemen, I have news for you. Karnataka is a blessed state. The consumers in Karnataka need to get much cheaper power than the hike. Why? Because 50% of the power in Karnataka is renewable. There is no fuel cost in it. Why is then this fuel cost of 148 being charged today? Because I would say lack of technology. There is no coordination between the various components of the government's electricity departments. The distribution companies are running their own show. The procurement department is running their own show. The state load dispatch center node. So there is, in fact, during the BJP government, there was a move to bring in synchronization. So everybody is able to move real time in the buy and sell of power. Now, please understand, and I need to explain this in a minute because that will clear a lot of confusion. Karnataka has 50% of renewable energy, which has zero fuel cost. So where lies the problem? Why are there high cost purchasing happening? The reason why it's happening is not because of any political party, because technologically, we are yet to implement in Karnataka real-time monitoring systems for all the distribution companies and the PCKL, which procures the power, and the state load dispatch center. So everybody is there in real time. Now, what is real time? Real time is you have got 100 megawatts hypothetically coming from a solar project. That solar project all of a sudden has a cloud cover. When it has a cloud cover, it has to immediately find the power drops to 20 megawatts from 100. So it has to procure power from somebody in real time basis. The other way, if you look at the statistics of 2021 and 2022, Karnataka has had 5,000 megawatts of surplus power on certain days.
Wow.
And for God's sake, that's money to be made. Now, problem is, how do you react so quickly? And that's a technological problem which needs to be fixed by whichever government is in place.
Right.
And the last point I want to make in this opening statement of mine is that Karnataka has lost a lot of opportunities of selling surplus power and making money, which it can do now after getting in these technological fixes. And once that is fixed, you'll be amazed to know that Karnataka is the blessed state in the whole of this country where 50% of its power is renewable, where there's no fuel cost. The other states are struggling with coal costs and import and imported coal prices and
So
escalations.
huge, and you know, you're
that's
talking
a
about
problem.
technological capabilities. It's the tech hub of our nation.
Of course, you have a technical
The government today needs to work on this to to fix those gaps. But let's come. Thank you, Harry, for explaining that very well.
I just finished, Tamanna. Half a second more.
Okay.
I just want to say one more thing. The blessing of renewable energy and hydropower started from Dr. Visheshwaraya's time. This state is blessed. It's very different from the other states. Thank you.
Okay, that's a good point. But let's come to the slightly more mundane but very, very relevant to viewers. 2 rupees 89 paise.
I see a reduction in tariffs.
2 rupees 89 paise, and why that is irritating people and who is supposed to pay for it. First of all, Madhavan, this on the eve of election result order needs to be looked into. I mean, is KERC being too clever by half, saying that in the middle of this power transfer, let me quickly get this sorted before it turns political? If they did do this, surely the Congress government can roll it back. They have come on the promise that we're not going to do what the previous government did. Why shouldn't they do it? The fact is that they are taking the money. They need the money because you do need someone to pay if you're going to give free power. There's nothing free.
Absolutely. Tamanna, I think, let me be very clear. I think people have been generally confusing the issue today by not focusing on the real deal. The real deal is if it's a regulator's decision to increase the power tariff based on some pending issue, a political decision can very clearly be taken by the Congress government with effects to its policy, prospectively at least, because if this pertains to April, then at least nothing stops the Congress government from announcing that, look, this is a legacy issue. We are going to keep our promise, and this is what you'll get. That is the first issue. So that can be cleared in 30 seconds by Siddaramaiah. If he's not, then he's deliberately confusing the people or confused himself. The second thing is, let me quote Bernard Shaw, whose original statement is, a government which robs Peter to pay Paul can always depend on the support of Paul. That is the fundamental principle on the basis of which the Congress has been elected in Karnataka, which means somebody has to pay. So who's Peter here? Now, I don't know what exactly the Congress Party's manifesto said. If it actually said everybody will get 200 units free, in that case, it requires some nuanced looking into the fine print of the manifesto promise. But on the other hand, if it is a question of higher consumption implying more affluent consumers, then an Azim Premji or Nandan Nilekani will indirectly subsidize the farmer or the housewife in a poor household, which is perfectly good public policy. So that would be called a good policy design, assuming the manifesto's fine print doesn't give anything which suggests that everybody will get it free, irrespective of, in an unconditional sort of a way. So that is something I would love to see.
Let's ask Dhruv.
Because I haven't had
let's ask Dhruv. He's here from the Congress Party.
Yeah.
Dhruv,
we have to look into the
is this a conditional 200 units or everyone who uses 200 and below or first 200 units? What is it?
It's not, Tamanna, it's not conditional, and points made by Mr. Madhavan and Mr. Harry are extremely, what I would say, valid and relevant, because the KERC is what I would say a very
what is your promise?
Confusing
Dhruv,
word.
the question is, what is your
coming
promise?
Back to what you were saying, the promise is clear. And in response to Mr. Madhavanji's statement, Siddaramaiah sir clearly went on to state that from July 1st, 200 units, irrespective of what household, what income, they're all going to get it, and an additional of 10% as well. I have two quick rebuts to the Bharatiya Janata Party spokesperson.
One minute. Additional, 1 minute. Madhavan's time is not up. Additional of 10% on what?
So 10% added in case they even go up the 200 units is what Mr. Siddaramaiah has said, and that is what the Congress Party is going to keep up to. And I can tell you that most middle-class households and lower-income households are going to range within that sort of units that are going to be consumed, thus making it free for all.
Okay, so about 240 units then. 240.
You could say, so depending on 10% of each household.
Okay, so about up to 240 units will be free. He's saying most middle-class households will come under that limit. Madhavan, does that answer your query?
Yeah, I think it pretty much answers my question. The important point being, who's Peter here? And I think it's very clear if, for instance, if the office parks run by Embassy and Manyata in Bangalore, if they consume thousands of units, it's perfectly fine for them to pay more per unit, which indirectly helps the subsidy bill. The important point to remember is that subsidy is a transparent issue, or ought to be a transparent issue. So it's not the distribution companies that bear the cost. It is the state exchequer, and that is very clearly identified. You yourself were showing the subsidy figures for every state. Now, the real issue is from a fiscal deficit point of view, the subsidy should be measured as a percentage of the state GDP. If it is well under control, it doesn't really matter whether it's per unit is 2.89, no, 12.89 or 13, as long as there is an equity in the implementation of the policy where the poorer households do not pay, and the manifesto promise is honored in both letter and spirit. The rest is for us to criticize. Political criticism by the BJP that some people, let's say, if Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw pays more and BJP wants to shed tears for her, by all means, let it do it.
I don't think Madhu wants to do that. I don't think Madhu wants to do that. I think the point they're making is that you promised free, but by stealth, this increased bill has come. But Madhu, the increased bill was a, cusp of government change decision. Someone very clever in KERC has said, let me just get this done before the politicians come. Let us fix our balance sheet. Yes.
Tamanna, just give me 45 seconds. Let me explain the Einstein equation of Congress government in Karnataka. The only thing what they have done is they have taken a 12-month average and they have told if it is less than 200, suppose it is 140 units. And if 10% is added this time, it becomes 154. If it is less than 154, you don't pay. If it is more than 154, then 200 minus 154, you pay. If the average is more than 200, we will not give you. I mean, this is called as Jumla by the Congress party. I mean, I really can't understand. You having promised 200, you should be on your words 200.
How much did you give, Madhu? How much did the previous government give? How many units? How many units did you give? How many units did you give?
We had given 75 units free to SC/STs who are deserving. You please tell me, why did they make these false promises and took vote? You are backstabbing the voter who has voted for you.
But they have given more than double. How is it? Okay, 1 minute. Dhruv, yes, let Dhruv respond. Let Dhruv respond. Let Dhruv respond. Let Dhruv respond. You gave 75, they've given 200. You're not happy with that 200. You should make the argument that it's not economically viable, but you know that will not go down well with voters. 1 minute, Dhruv.
So if your Bharatiya Janata Party had so many Aryabhattas, then I'm sure 66 wouldn't have been your number. And what confusion you speak about? It's in pure...
One by one, please. One by one, gentlemen.
Some decorum, sir. Sir, you speak about it being confusing. It's written in English and in Kannada. How difficult is it? Do Bharatiya Janata Party people read alien language when
please act as a responsible government. Act on your promises.
Madhu Rao, please, can you wait for him to finish his point? No one can understand anything. You will get your turn, sir. Yes.
Tamanna, very simple. 200 units from July 1st. Mr. Madhu Rao himself can go and avail it if he wishes to. And the rest of the Karnataka as well is going to avail it. 66 is the only mathematical number here that he needs to remember. And that's what's going to stand for 5 years.
No, but for 5 years, he has every right, duty and responsibility in a democracy to ask you if you have heard, Dhruv, the way the Congress wants to on a national level, they have to do it. At a state level. So they should be asking where this 289 has come from. That's why I must ask you, will you roll it back instead of blaming them?
Exactly.
Tamanna, very clear. From July 1st, we've said that 200 units is going to come into picture.
I'm not talking about 200. I'm talking about 289. I'm talking about 289.
289 gets directly equated with the 200 units put together plus a 10% on it. What more is an answer to that?
No, I didn't understand that answer at all. 1 minute. How is 289 directly equated? 289 kicks in if I use more than 200 units, correct?
Exactly.
Tamanna, see, that's what the KERC had put in. The KERC is one of the stakeholders, which is one of the corporations.
Are you saying the KERC has become like this super powerful entity? Please go and talk to the electricity boards in every state. They're crying. No one listens to them.
100%. So, I agree with you. The energy department.
You can change it if you want. Are you going to? It's a direct question, Dhruv. You are in government. You must answer.
Tamanna, we are doing a very great social deed in terms of giving 200 units
That's not
to
what I'm
every
asking.
single household in Karnataka. And I
That's
don't
not what I'm
think that.
asking.
No, I'm answering your question. All of this is going to be looked into because this happened
Okay.
under the Bharatiya
We
Janata
will look
Party
into it.
regime.
Okay, I
Looking
got the
into
answer.
it,
We will look into it. We will look into it. You know, the Congress government should come and say, we need that 289. Let the rich pay. That's how we're going to pay our bills and make sure the state doesn't go broke. If you have to increase tariffs, own it. Don't do it by stealth. There is an economic requirement of it. It's fine. Don't do it by stealth. I think that's the concern. I want to ask a question of Harry Doll, which I think will be interesting for our viewers. We're going on and on about 200 units. What can you really do in 200 units? What is the kind of usage of 200 units in a household? With fans, refrigerator, can all of this come within 200 units? What does 200 units mean? Because a lot of our viewers, laypersons, I really don't know. What does that look like in terms of usage?
Tamanna, I am not qualified to comment on the power consumption of somebody's air conditioner, somebody's fan or tube light. But I want to add something to what you said. The point is, Karnataka is blessed. It has not exploited the fact that half the power has no cost. It's only the capex, the capital cost in renewable energy, hydropower, which some of the projects were built 60, 70 years ago. It's free. The consumer in Karnataka should get not just 200 units, he should get two things. A reduction in tariff, the 289 must go out of the window. The state has to sit down and figure out a way they can fix the deficits, if any, by this 200 units or otherwise. More importantly, forget the 200 units. If you're going to keep on increasing the tariff by 289 to other consumers, it's going to make the state very uncompetitive in terms of its business. It's going to become very expensive to do business in Karnataka. And the other thing which is very important is, I think people are forgetting that it was the KERC which decided this issue and issued an order during the month of May when elections were over. And that, to my mind, is something which the present government should relook at and see what can be done without.
Right, KERC is
without,
not some superpower in any kind of system. That's also manned. Yeah, that's also manned by people. They have to listen to what the government says. The government has been elected to implement. Yes, Madhavan.
It's not government.
I think I want to
it's the regulatory commission. It's not the government. It's the regulatory commission which has passed the order, not the government.
Right.
Yeah, I think Tamanna, it's very simple. Come July, I'm telling you as a Delhi power consumer who has been benefited, even though I don't deserve it, by Arvind Kejriwal's policies, that people will decide on the basis of the actual electricity bill they get in the month of August, not on the basis of what our chat show goes on discussing round and round today. So the bottom line lies in the zero that will appear in the to be paid column of the electricity bill. And if by chance there are people who are consuming more with or without the regulator's decision, and if they pay more, it is because the government intends to use their money to subsidize those who will get the zero bills. It's simple public policy. But what Harry Doll says is absolutely brilliant. If the Karnataka government has any fiscal chutzpah, that's the right word, then they should be actually using a right mix of renewable and fuel bill and doing it in such a way that they can eat the cake and have it too. You know, they can actually bring down the cost of production, which indirectly reduces the bill at the back end, which is what any good, smart entrepreneurial company will do. Even the governments can do it. So I think the real issue is this regulator's mistimed decision. But, you know, as the poet E.T.S. Eliot said, in a minute there is time for decisions and revisions that a minute can reverse. So in that case, all Mr. Shivakumar or Mr. Siddaramaiah has to do is to say, look, whatever it is, we'll take ownership and reverse it if this is what the case is.
Yeah, you have that. You're in the honeymoon period of governance, where you can blame quite a lot of things on the previous government. But remember, all those honeymoon periods are fixed. It can't go on for years and years. You have some time now. So the Congress has some time now.
Congress, it's the regulatory commission. Please don't blame these governments. They have nothing to do with it.
But they have to accept it. It has to be implemented. They have to allow it, isn't it? All right, we'll have to wrap this here. Thank you so much.